right now I'm on the home page and I'm not logged in. And you can see that by me clicking on the login button here. But I can still post a gig, so we're allowing visitors to post gigs. And that's not something that we want. We want people to actually be able to create a gig or only be able to post a gig if they are logged in. So what we can do is go into our gigs controller and add a before action up top here of authenticate user, except for the index action, search, and show. And this authenticate user is a devise method that essentially says authenticate the user before they're able to get into any of these different actions right here, except for the index, search, and show page, because we want visitors to be able to visit the home page and search on the gigs, but in order to have them actually create gigs, we'll want them to be logged in. So if we do a refresh here and try to post a gig, it's going to ask us to sign in. So we can go ahead and sign in. And now, if we click on my gigs right here, you'll see that I have 4 gigs under me that I own. However, if I say ABC, $100, finance, remote, hello world, and create the gig of ABC, and I go into my gigs, it's not there because we're not assigning the user to that gig when we're creating it. What we'll have to do in order to do that is go into our create action and say gig.user equals current user. Then if gig is saved, then redirect, else flash an error message saying, or giving us the gig errors, full messages to sentence, render new, do a refresh. Now what we can do is, if we post a gig, XYZ, 1, 2, 3, engineering, sales, remote, foo bar, and create the gig. If we go into my gigs, now that XYZ gig actually belongs to me because now we have assigned the user ID. Now another thing that we'll want to be very careful of is when we edit this, if we click on that right here, let me just log out. Let me save that URL. Click on edit, it's going to ask us to sign in. So if I sign in as somebody else, and I believe Joe is a user, well, he is not. Let me sign up with Joe. Joe at example.com. Joe can get into it. Now that's not a good thing because Joe is not the person who is in control or who is assigned to that gig. So what we'll want to do here as well is in our edit action, we want to verify that. So say if current user equals the gig user, then we'll allow them to update. Else, flash another error message, and this one say you are not the owner of this gig. You can end it here. And actually, I'm not sure we need this entire part. We can essentially just go like this. Find the gig. If current user does not equal at gig user, then flash that error message you are not the owner, then redirect to @gig. There you go. That's how it should be. So now if I go in here and try to get into it, it's just going to redirect me back to the home page or to the gig page. And to even make double sure that we're not allowing anybody to update this, let's put this in the update action as well. If current user equals the gig user, then go ahead and update those params. Else, flash error message, and we can actually just take this up here, do the same thing, and then redirect to gig. Do refresh, there you go. You can do the same exact thing down here of the destroy action. There you go. Redirect to my gigs. That's fine, yeah, right here. Good, so we've added some user authentication, and let's just make sure Bob can still do it. Go to my gigs, delete, okay, delete, and I edit this Rails dev to be a Ruby developer, update it, go to my gigs, there you go. So Bob can still edit those gigs because he is the owner. So all we did was add this before action authenticate user, and then in our create action we assign the user, and in our edit, update, and destroy we made sure that the user is actually the owner of that gig before they can take any of those actions. So very simple to do.